Well, hello and welcome there, YouTubers, Mavericks, subscribers alike. This is the weekly recap of the news you missed, a podcast formatted video where I take into account a lot of the major stories that happened in gaming and recap them in one major episode. You put me in the background, you don't necessarily have to watch because it's lightly edited, and it's really up to you how you want to consume this content, but I'm going to get you up to speed on all the video game news you might have missed this week that's probably important to you, but definitely important to the video game industry at large. But before we jump right into it, I just wanted to give a big shout out to my Twitter. If you're not following me there, you can check into that because I always tweet out stories as well before I do recap them on videos. And you can check into my Discord also if you want to have a more heart-to-heart with some of my followers and have a chit-chat over there. But there's always Patreon too, if you feel like supporting me. And now with that out of the way, I suppose I should just ask you to sign in and get ready to contribute in the comments section because there's going to be a lot of stories you're going to want to talk about. Let's jump right into the news you missed. Recap Weekly Edition. So, the first story I want to hit on is that the good old Mewtwo movie that we all know and love, one of the very first Pokemon movies, is being remade as a fully 3D animated type of movie. So, originally it was cartoon, now it's like 3D CG, stuff like that. So that's really, really cool. We've known about that, but now we have another trailer and a supposed release date as well. So this trailer looks pretty cool. I don't know how I feel about 3D rendering. I think the cartoon styling is much, much better. I like classic cartoon styling, especially the original movie because the movies did so well with the graphical appearances of the portrayals of Ash and his cohorts along with Team Rocket, Mewtwo, and several Pokemon. I think they were done very, very well in the movie styling versus the anime itself, and I think it aged really, really well. So to see it being remade in CG, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I don't think it's bad, but I don't really think it's good either, so I'm pretty neutral. How about you, ladies and gentlemen? You let me know in the comments below. Continuing the Pokemon news, if you didn't know, Generation 8 has come out. At least the trailer, that is. We know about 3 starters, we know the names, and the region. Seems to be UK-based, or English-based, or British-based, with other regions sprinkled in. So very similar to our real world. And the 3 starters, of course, very, very similar to previous starters. One's a monkey, another one's a water lizard, and one is a fire bunny. So nothing super original, but it looks good all the same. And again, the game names are Pokemon Sword and Shield. So really cool trailer. I strongly suggest you check into it because it's for the Nintendo Switch. And it has classic battle and capture mechanics. So no Let's Go Pikachu stuff here. Maybe that'll be an option. But it seems that it is going to be following the classic Pokemon pathway. And I do have something to say about that later on. But I have even more Pokemon news. Because speaking of those starter Pokemon with the new trailer, we have somebody who happens to be the Detective Pikachu concept artist drawing a realistic Sobble from Pokemon Sword and Shield. This was pretty cool because it looks like a very, very strange chameleon. I don't know what else to say about it, but it's funky, man. Kind of looks like a fish as well, slightly. I don't know. Maybe you guys could weigh in on that too because I definitely would like some feedback on that. I think realistic Pokemon portrayals for like movies and not so much CG but more trying to approach a realistic take. I don't know if I necessarily like the way Pokemon look in that regard. You could go ahead and let me know your opinions because again, I would definitely like your feedback. I definitely like the cartoony appearance a lot more, but his work is very, very notable and it looks really, really good, at least for how the work was done. So there was an article CNN had posted, okay, so it's not the article itself that sounds really bad, but it does sound bad. Why Nintendo keeps returning to classics like Pokemon, but the way they posted on Twitter was really, really, really piss poor and negative. They were talking about how Pokemon is returning to classics and trying to breathe new life into the series and the Nintendo Switch itself, which is utterly ridiculous because if you really think about it, when Pokemon Generation 8's trailer came out, it was trending. It's still trending. It's a very, very popular thing around the world, globally, Pokemon is. And the Nintendo Switch has been outselling the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 for quite some time. The Nintendo Switch is one of the hottest systems that you can get in your hands right now. So to sit there and say that this Pokemon Generation 8, by going back to the classic formula, it's going to breathe new life into the system, you're out of your mind, okay? Maybe it'll breathe new life into the franchise, but I don't think it was even dead when Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee was out. Yes, was it stagnant? Absolutely. There's people who don't like Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee battle and capture mechanics. I can't prevent that. I can't stop that. I don't like them myself. But was it dead? Absolutely not. Not at all. So these articles, again, it's just very, very strange. Coming from CNN Business, of all places, I really wanted to take this article apart in my own individual video about it, but I think this is plenty good. Maybe I'll still take it apart in another dedicated video, but we'll have to see. I just think it's utterly ridiculous when you post things like that on Twitter to try and get a hook, try to clickbait someone into clicking on your article, only to realize you have no idea what you're talking about. The Nintendo Switch sells like hotcakes. Pokemon is a massive series that's grossing all kinds of money, and that's probably why Nintendo keeps returning to classics like Pokemon. Anyways, we gotta continue on. There's apparently been a rumor that Splatoon 2's MARINA has appeared on an Xbox One menu, of all places, and this seems to be the truth, though it may not be as crazy as you think. Some people could have been streaming it and it somehow got onto the menu via somebody live streaming or watching a live stream on Twitch of somebody playing Splatoon. So that's it. Somebody screen capped and was able to take a picture of and show that, yes, it seems that MARINA was somehow, in some way, shape, or form, on an Xbox One menu. If you look at the picture, it's extremely hard to see, but it's definitely there. Now, do I think that Microsoft is going to be receiving Splatoon 2 anytime soon? No, absolutely not. Microsoft might be streaming games onto the Nintendo Switch, but vice versa doesn't really work that well with Nintendo. Nintendo rarely puts their IPs on another game console for a very, very simple reason. They have full control and utilize their hardware to the maximum, and it makes a very, very good game. So to have Nintendo put Splatoon 2 and port it over on the Xbox One, it definitely would take a very, very long time to master that hardware, because Nintendo doesn't work on that hardware. Come on, man. I'm not saying it's impossible, I just don't think it's gonna happen. So this is a rumor, and I think it'll stay a rumor. Anyways, Super Smash Bros. Melee won't be at EVO 2019. If you're a big fighting game enthusiast, sorry, I'm really sorry, but they didn't have a lot to say about this, other than the simple fact that just Melee is not going to be showing up. However, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is there, so obviously at some point in time, these old games do have to die. A lot of die-hard fighting game fans and Smash Bros. Fans definitely are upset about this, and I think there is good reason to be as well. However, I don't really know what else to say about it, other than I'm very, very sorry. If you were a Melee fan, you're just not going to be able to see the competition and the fighters that you're very, very used to bringing in their good old GameCubes and the GameCube controllers and duking it out in a Melee. I apologize, but it's just not going to happen anymore. I'll update you if they have a lot more information on this, but it's a pretty short article, and again, you can read all these articles in the description below if I don't give you enough information here. So we have a recap for some games coming out. Ace Attorney Trilogy on the Nintendo Switch is now available for eShop Preload, but it will be launching the 9th of April. So if you didn't happen to ever play the Ace Attorney Trilogy or any of the Ace Attorney games, it's basically a law game where you take on courses, you find evidence, and it's pretty unique and cool. I know it sounds pretty silly, but for a law-based game, I think a lot of people like them, so I don't see a big issue with this. To be able to play these games on the Switch is pretty big joy, because none of them have been on the Switch anyways. Most of them are pretty relegated to the Nintendo DS itself. So again, it's nice to see more games coming over to the Nintendo Switch, which is awesome. And the 9th of April, the file size itself will be 1.7 gigabytes. So if you need to make some room or buy an SD card and you really want these games, make sure you are prepared for it. There also seems to be an open beta for Tom Clancy's The Division 2. That is going to last from March 1st to the 4th. If you've never played the game and you thought, hey, that seems like a cool game, but you don't have the money to actually put into it, then you should probably try the beta, because it's free. So go ahead and try it out. Like the game? Buy the game. If you don't like the game, don't buy the game. And everyone in between. You can give them feedback if you find glitches and things like that. Don't expect some amazing reward or anything, but it is nice to be able to play the beta of the game before it actually launches to know if you sink $60 into that. So there's that. Just remember that is going on. Fortnite Season 8 has also started, so if you're a big Fortnite fan or if you absolutely hate it, well, guess what? Season 8's here regardless. So if you would like to earn a bunch of stuff, there's going to be the update version 8.00, touching everything from creative mode to adding new hero loadout system in Save the World, bug fixes, and other changes. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad they continue to support that game. Hopefully they will keep supporting it for a long time in the future. This update seems to bring along with it Pirates of the Caribbean. Nope. Pirates of the copyright infringement. Absolutely not. Just Pirates. So there you go, folks. If you're interested in that, make sure to check into that. A free version of Final Fantasy NT Decida. I'm undecided how to say this game's name. Anyways, it's coming to the PS4 and the PC. So this is going to be the free edition, and basically how they're doing the free edition is that they are rotating in and out of fighters that you can use for free. So if you have the full game, obviously you're going to have access to the roster in which the full game does offer. But if you're using the free version, each week there's going to be fighters rotated in and out. So, I mean, I don't know. If you're really into the game, obviously you're going to just buy the game and you're going to have every fighter available to you. But for most people, they probably would like the free version. Even if they're limited to the fighters, at least they get to play it, so that's cool. And maybe they'll touch it once or twice a week here or there, and then they get a new fighter next week. So not a bad idea from Square. Definitely going to get people playing another game because it's free. Again, you can't beat free. So if you want to test your PC or you just don't have money for games, make sure to check into that. Final Fantasy NT Decidia. I still haven't decided yet how to say that game's name. That joke is decidedly bad. Anyways, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered appears on European ratings board. I don't have to read into the story, do I? Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. Probably going to be coming. Whether it's going to be coming in the form of multiplayer only, that would suck. We already had Modern Warfare 1 and its issues and problems and how they wanted to sell that game. And now we have Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. Hopefully it will just come out as a straight game with both single player and multiplayer for people to play it. I mean, I don't really care about anything else. Just let people play online multiplayer. Man, that game was amazing. When I got back from Afghanistan, my deployment, that game was just coming out, and I was really into World at War and Call of Duty 4 at the time. So this is big, man. This is awesome. If it does indeed come out, and it is a remaster, I will definitely be picking it up and playing it and prestiging a couple times, that's for sure. Because MW2 was where it was at for a long time. Nowadays, those old Call of Duties are filled with hackers and not so great. So these remasters are really, really nice. They're able to keep hackers out a lot more than what they are currently with 360 and PS3 versions, or even the PC versions. But long story short, if you've never played Modern Warfare 2 and the remaster does come out, I strongly suggest picking up. It's a great first-person shooter and multiplayer game. Borderlands developer Gearbox was almost chosen for Halo 4. So that's pretty crazy. In the notes, you can see some things, and highlighted is Gearbox, but I'd also like to express that Valve and Epic are also here too. Not highlighted, but yeah, Gearbox was highlighted. Apparently there was a lot of consideration before deciding to keep it within Microsoft's. They ended up going with 343 anyways, obviously, and we see what happened with that. And I gotta tell you, I think Halo 4 was either the end of the trilogy itself or the beginning of the new trilogy. Some people see it as both, one or the other. I personally see it as the end of the trilogy, and I don't particularly think it's good. I don't think it's a great Halo. Definitely not. It's worlds above Halo 5, but I think in terms of the story, it's not that good compared to Halo 1, 2, or 3. And I think 343i didn't do that great of a job with Halo 4. I'm just throwing it out there. I think there's a lot of rinse and repeat enemies in a very, very negative way. It wasn't used properly. The story is not that captivating. and I just personally don't like it. So I'm very curious what Gearbox would have actually done with it. I mean, imagine a Borderlands type of Halo. What do you think that would have been like? Obviously, they would have been restricted and had to have developed it in a certain way, but what do you think a Borderlands spin on Halo would have ultimately ended up looking like? And do you think it would have been better than what we got, Halo 4? You let me know in the comments below. Obviously, if Gearbox developed Halo 4 and it went off, I mean, it couldn't have done much worse than what it did with 343i, so they still would have had the reins for Halo 5. Pretty sure. So what do you think Halo 5 would have looked like also? So we're going to continue with the Halo news. Halo Infinite is supposed to be a spiritual reboot according to 343. Now why I talk about 343 so much in the previous story is because this story also talks about 343 and how they've handled Halo. And they said they didn't know, maybe it took them 2 games to understand and what they need and how to create Halo the way that the community wants, and they just want to bring the community together. But I think they're full of crap, just to be perfectly frank, okay? Being the end of the trilogy itself, being the 4th and ending chapter of that previous trilogy that was developed by Bungie, or you have 4 as the beginning of the new trilogy, or 5 as the beginning of a new Halo reboot. So what's Halo 5 if this is supposed to be a spiritual reboot, right? So what... I'm sorry, it's very hard for me to talk about this stuff because these companies take these IPs that are beloved by people and they just completely screw the pooch on it, man. They screw them up so badly and it's ridiculous. Okay, all you need from Halo is the same exact first-person shooting mechanics, a decent story. You already have that. Cortana has gone rogue, all right? So there's a bunch of AIs that have gone rogue here and there. There's still problems with the Covenant. There's still problems with the Flood here and there. There's still problems and issues with the Forerunners. Okay, can you not tie all of that together every which way, everywhere, and figure out how to make a comparable Halo game? Just make the story decent. Don't have the same exact boss repeat itself. You don't need 2 games to figure that out. You don't. Okay? Learn from Halo 1. Halo 1 rarely had bosses, but when they did, they worked out really well. Halo 2 rarely had bosses, but when they did, they worked out really, really well. It was the story that drove us. It's the story that made us love these games. And so, when you're saying you're going to spiritually reboot Halo, for what reason? Halo Infinite? So then what's that going to be? Is that going to be Halo 6? Or is this going to be a completely side-based entry that has nothing to do with the main storyline of Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6? So what's going on with it, right? That's a good question, and I think that's a question that needs to be answered. If you want to make a good game, all you need to do is go back to why people loved the original Halos, emulate that, and put your own spin on it. It's not that difficult. So Jam and Earl, in some good news, is back in the groove. The game has released as of today, as of this recording, and it's getting solid reviews. If you don't know what Jam and Earl is, it's a funkatronic type of game. I'm not joking you. It's a pretty cool game. Anyways, if you played it on the Sega Genesis, you'll know exactly what it is. I'll just put some background footage up so you can kind of see what's up with it. If you think you would like this game, it's very difficult to describe. Like I said, if you're seeing the footage and you think that's something you'd like to try out, you can go and check into it. It's getting 8 out of 10s. I believe that it might be available for the PlayStation 4 as well as Steam. Currently, I have seen it personally on Steam, although I'm not sure if it is available for the PS4 or not. This review seems to imply that, and it's getting solid ratings, so that's very, very good. A lot of old game series that died off and are coming back recently are doing the games justice, and that's a very, very good thing to see. So there you go. The Skylanders are returning in a mobile game, so I mean, there's that. I always liked Skylanders. I've always thought that they do very, very well. I've always felt that they do too much and that they need to bring it back a bit and just bring it in. This mobile game is a little bit different. It's a little bit interesting. It doesn't require toys to unlock new Skylanders anymore, just in-game currency, because of course, it's a mobile game. So now instead of buying toys on the outside and actually getting something physical, now we are buying games and stuff inside phones and then buying more inside the phones. Digital currency. that's not an excuse to make it a bland, boring, and drab game, but the point is that it wasn't the worst of games I've ever played. If you compare Skylanders to something like Sesame Street, I promise you, it's not that bad. So, to say that it needed to be remade on a mobile game with microtransactions, that's dumb and worthless. I can't stand that. I don't like that. Now, instead of buying cool toys and having an awesome toy collection, something I can look back upon, display on shelves, I now have more digital crap that I would have to purchase to play this game. So I will give it an attempt, but I am not holding out a lot of hopes for Skylanders on mobile. So we have another really stupid Twitter post about black representation in video games. This time it's from IGN, not CNN Money or Finance. There's not enough black representation in video games. Hey, by the way, video games are an art form, and we shouldn't cater to any type of race. The Twitter post was, again, incredibly negatively worded, very, very ignorant looking, and then when you click over to the article, it's not that. The title isn't that. Opinion. Video games still have a way to go with black avatars. Black Avatar. What is that? Like Avatar the Airbender #2, the sequel, where a black guy is the lead role. Okay. All right. Enough with these terrible jokes. IGN, you're becoming quite the joke. You're rivaling Polygon and Kotaku there with the race card you're playing. All right. Let me get one thing straight. I'm not racist, and I don't care if you have representation in video games or not, because video games are an art form. If I want to make a game character, black, white, Asian, I'll do it. And I don't have to placate to you. When I make a story, when I create a story, I am not creating a story based upon black people only, okay? That's just me. I'm creating a story for all people to watch, see, read, view, in some way, shape, or form. It has nothing to do with race. I am literally not targeting blacks, whites, anyone else around the world. I'm not. So I greatly dislike when we're talking about how avatars are not being represented properly. Oh, they're not being designed properly. Oh, there's not enough representation in video games. Oh my god, it's so terrible. So awful. I have to pay almost $10 to have a black avatar represent me in a free-to-play game. Like Guns to Glory. Okay. I don't care about some weird Guns to Glory game that I've never heard of, except within this instance right here. There are a lot of video games with black protagonists. Did you guys forget about Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas? Did you guys forget about Grand Theft Auto 5? I mean, just those two games alone, millions of copies were sold with black individuals as protagonists, and a lot of those games had black characters in them. No one cared. No one batted an eye. No one said, oh my god, there's too much black representation. It's no big deal, okay? And then the argument that I try to present to other people is, what about games that literally have no black people in them? Okay, so there's tons of games that don't have black representation. Got it. Cool, I'm with you. What about the games like Tetris? What do you want done for Tetris? What do you want done for racing games? Oh, you want the driver to be black? Fine. Now what? Oh, it's all good now? Okay. You know, like, come on, man. What about games where there's just literally no human being? No protagonist? What, you want Undertale, the character, main protagonist, you want them to be black? I think they're, like, yellow. So they have, like, jaundice or something. Man, he's got to get that Hep C checked out, I'm telling you. Jokes aside, I'm serious. What do you want done for games with little to no protagonists? Pokemon gives you the option for a black character. No one much cares about it that much. No one really cares about race in those games because the main focus is the Pokemon and not the color of your skin. So I'm just throwing it out there. Why do you, and all these websites, if you do agree with them, continuously put out the idea that race needs more representation, more diversification in an art form? That's like telling a painter, hey, I like your painting, but I want you to change this. You know what they're going to look at you and say? You'll see, this is my painting. You can go paint your own. You know what I'm saying? And you might say, oh, well, that artist has some problems taking constructive criticism. No, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just wants his painting to look the way it's going to look. And that's exactly how video games are. Maybe the developers have a set path and a story that they want to tell, and they're going to tell it. Just throwing it out there. You can say what you want in the comments. Anthem's physical sales are half Mass Effect Andromeda. Oh, man, that's bad, man. That's really bad, man. Mass Effect Andromeda was pretty bad game. And to say that Anthem was bad too, that's not good. BioWare is in trouble without question. Anthem is a pretty bad game. Some people enjoy it, and I don't detract from people who do enjoy it, but it is getting around 4 to 6 out of 10, which is not good. Most games that are decent games get 7 to 8 out of 10, somewhere in that bracket. And those are just considered to be decent games, average, mundane. Sometimes you want to run out and grab them. Sometimes you want to go and play them. They're decent ratings, right? Even games that get 6 out of 10 are okay. That's fine. You know, it might appeal to a certain section, certain crowd of people. Fine. You know, you want to go out and play it, go play it. But 4s and 5s out of 10, and not too good, man. You're going down a pretty dark path. You're not doing too well. Not a lot of people out there who are going to enjoy this experience, and that's Anthem in a nutshell. Anthem is not doing well, and it is no shock that it is half the Mass Effect Andromeda sales. So there's really not much else to talk about. This game is just not good. So if you waste your money on it, I tried to warn you. A Skyrim mod apparently is making $33,000 a month and is accused of stealing code. This is a long story, and it's pretty strange. There's a lot of he said, she said stuff coming up. So unless good old Todd Howard wants to go to court with these people, I don't necessarily think we're going to get the complete story. There's a lot of stuff that's posted on Reddit. There's a lot of things going on with it. It's basically Skyrim Together. A lot of people have seen it, where you can play Skyrim together. It's always full of drama, the mod scene is. Being accused of using stolen code is not good. Stealing someone else's code is, again, not good. So, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. Making 33 grand a month is pretty good. That's pretty good living, especially if you're only a couple developers and an indie development crew. Very good profit, healthy profit margins. If they were going to be sued, they'd probably lose a lot of money based upon how much money they're making right now. And again, we'll have to see if either company wants to take it to court to get the truth. But yeah, once again, just something to be aware of. Destiny 2 gets another injection of cool new stuff. Now, I've been harsh on Destiny 2 for a very, very long time, but it does seem to be turning around quite a bit. Destiny 2 still has the microtransactions and the Eververse. Fine, okay, whatever. But there is still a lot of very, very cool things that are coming, especially if you bought the season pass. Right now, there's a new season of Drifter, which is very similar to Firefight, except with people being thrown into the mix where you can kill each other and kill enemies and things like that. So that's very, very cool. Really appreciate the updates that Destiny are receiving, and I'm really enjoying Destiny as a game now, especially with all the updates that have been given to it. But just be very, very aware, if you buy the DLC right now, you could get it all and get it around $60. But once again, a $60 to $65 game with a lot of content now, it might be worth it to you. Just depends on how you feel and if you like Destiny. Finally, want to end on a high note. Respawn's Star Wars game is going to be revealed April 13th. So there you have it. There's really not much else to say about that. Just keep a lookout. New Star Wars game from Respawn. Respawn pretty good at what they do. Creators of the Titanfall series. We'll see what they can do with Star Wars. What do you think they're going to create? Maybe it'll be a lot of mech battles, robot battles. Maybe it'll be something completely different. Who knows? Hopefully we will learn exactly what this is going to be and what it means. What do you guys think about all of these stories? I would greatly appreciate your input. And as this has gone on for around 30 minutes, I suppose it would be time for me to cut out. I would only ask that you click the like button and share this video to other people. And you can always drop a comment down below. Probably already have throughout this video, but if you haven't yet, go ahead and do that. Click that subscribe button. Every week I recap the news, and I just wait here for you to listen to it. That's literally the only reason I do this. Your feedback, folks, and entertain you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I've been your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out. As always, good game and God bless, and thanks for taking time out to watch this recap.